Hello, my planty family. Hopefully everything is well with you. If you are new here, my nickname is Nina. And if you're not new here, thank you for coming back. I really appreciate every single one of you. Today, we are going to discuss or talk about 10 more medium-sized leaf Hoyas. I've already done the series. I started the series with the small leaf Hoyas. The second one was the long leaf Hoyas. And the medium or the middle section, the broadest section that I have are middle-sized Hoyas. So instead of having such a very long video, I decided to just cut 10 by 10 per video, since we are going to discuss the origins, if I have the information, a little bit more of the Hoya information, pertinent care tips, and things that will help us to make them grow beautiful. So I'm learning with this series. Believe me, when I look it up, most of the information is from Google, from different pages, trustworthy pages. And if there's anything that you see that can be even better, then let me know. Put it in the comments. If this has helped you in any way, let me know also. I would really appreciate it. Thank you for those that are leaving beautiful comments. And believe me, you are my planty family. So we're all going to learn together. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and the videos. We're going to go ahead with the video. But before that, I'd also like to let you know that here in Puerto Rico, we have one of the longest Christmas periods in most of the world. After the 25th, we have New Year's, and then we have the Three Kings Day, which is the 6th of January. They also give gifts out also. And after that, it's 8 days, a leeway. They call it the Octavita. And after that, that's when we start putting down the decorations for Christmas. But yeah, it's a very festive time here in Puerto Rico, and we truly enjoy it. We extend that quality time that we have with family. So we're going to go ahead with a video. If you like the video, thumbs up, like, share, so we can also learn from each other. Things, details that might be able to help you in with your Hoya care. And also, if you haven't subscribed already, I invite you to do so and activate the bell so you can receive notifications when I upload another video. So yeah, also I'd like to put a little note there. I do have the Spanish speaking channel, which is my primary channel, and it's called Nina Suculentas y Más. So I invite you to go over there if it's easier for you to understand. And also, I just want to put a little note that I had a little situation with my video app editing, and I lost my intro and my outro, which I'm trying to fix. I'm not a computer expert, but I'm getting some assistance soon. So the video just goes right into the details. So just to let you know, okay? Yeah, so let's get going with the video. Okay, I thought I was recording, but apparently not. So I am going to be adding this part in to start off the video. This is the first plant that did not get recorded, and it's one of my favorite actually. Here I'm putting the label, Hoya Florida, and I bought it from Hoya Appreciation in June. Now this one I love because of the shape of the leaves. It's more of an oval but longer leaf, and absolutely love it. Shiny but soft. It's very, very pretty. Let me tell you a little bit more about this plant, and you can see some decorations in the back. Let me see if I can get it in such a way that you won't be able to, it won't bother you. Okay, well, actually I'm filming the next day. So I'm not totally dressed up again. So yeah, well, Let's go with the information. This one prefers temperatures from 65 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit or 18 to 24 degrees Celsius. This one prefers slightly moderate to high humidity, approximately 70% humidity. So yeah, it does like warm, moderate to warm temperature and humidity. It likes well-draining soil, good aeration. I have this one in pond, as you can see here, which is my preferred choice of substrate. But if I see that something is not going the way that I would prefer, then I change it. And this one I learned after the fact. So if anything happens to this plant and I see that it starts getting worse or whatever the case may be, then I will transfer it and repot it into the preferred choice that is specified for their plant care, which is an aeroid mix. The watering should be sparingly, only when the topsoil is dry. One thing that does specify on this that overwatering can lead to root rot. In my pond, I have had no problem due to the fact that the pond is around this much and then the bottom is water. The indicator is shows a little bit of algae within the water, but I have had no problem with algae or algae that is pronounced in certain countries. So yeah, it's growing very nicely. You can see how beautiful it is in its shininess, right? It's really shiny and firm. It's a very firm, strong, and a nice shaped leaf. The fertilizer should be applied only during growing season, which is spring and summer. It prefers bright, indirect light. And you have to be careful because this one will scorch if the sunlight is directly on it. So you have to be very careful. I have this one under the grow light and it's growing very nicely. It appreciates support structure, like it's a trailing vine. So yeah, it's growing nicely within this trellis. You can see. And it does prefer an organic, well-draining aeroid mix, preferably orchid bark or orchid mix and perlite. So those are the preferences for this particular Hoya that I love so much. And let me put on there also a picture of the bloom. This one has not flowered yet, but I will add a picture of the bloom, the expected bloom for this plant. Okay, let's go into the next one. I left off. Okay, the temperatures 65 to 85% Fahrenheit or 18 to 30% Celsius, and it recommended humidity of 60%. It likes well draining with good aeration substrate. I have it in pond, but you can also use it in with aeroid mix. It is a hybrid of Hoya Waieriae and Hoya Sanjai, which is they renamed as Bertoniae. So it is a very nice hybrid. It does like the soil somewhat acidic. So if you're into the pH levels, yeah, it does like acidic. The hardiness zones are 10 to 11 in the United States, uh, approximately the tropical regions of Florida, Keys, and Hawaii Big Island. So yeah, it does like humidity, it does like warmth. The blooms take from 4 to 5 years to bloom, which is sad because I really want to see it. And they are red in color. I will leave a copy or picture of the bloom that generally comes out of the Rosita. So we will see red color. Fertilized during spring and summer, there's most of them. The light, bright, indirect, morning or evening direct sun also can be recommended, but not during the scorching hours of the afternoon. So yeah, but I do like it because it is somewhat stressed just by the artificial light. Okay. And the leaves are from 12, when it receives 12 to 14 hours of sun or indirect sun, the edges become bold, maroon with bold edges on the leaves. So it stresses nicely if it receives enough illumination. So yeah, there you go, the Hoya Rosita. The next one is one that I acquired recently from 365 Hydroponics on their live auction. And this one is the Hoya Campanulata. Now this one, when I saw it on the auction, it was flowered. When I got it, the flowers had already died. And I was like, oh, I wanted to see the flowers. But here they are. They're opening now. They flowered again. And this one is not the splash. This is just the regular green leaf with the yellow flowers. Let me show you pictures of the flowers. Look how cute. I'm so happy. They're really, really cute. These I acquired in November. So since November to now, it flowered again. So it seems to be a prolific flower, which is nice. And I can smell the aroma of these flowers. Wow. But I'm going to tell you a little bit later about how they smell because it is weird. I've never smelled anything like it on Hoya flower blooms. Let me tell you a little bit more about them. They thrive. This plant thrives in 86 degrees Fahrenheit temperatures. So yeah, it thrives in hot temperatures, warm. Um, the humidity, though, can go down to 50 degrees, 50%, and it's recommended around 70%, from 50 to 70% humidity. Um, and it's receiving, and this one I have it outside in the balcony. And oh my. It's recommended to water sparingly. I did put this one in aeroid mix, as you can see here. There you go. Aeroid mix, and it's growing very nicely. This one is a non-twining shrub-like plant. I put it on this trellis because I wanted to see the flowers, hang and I'd be able to see the flowers. And but it is a shrub-like, so I imagine the more you prune it, the fuller it gets. But I will check it out and see how it continues to grow. The blooms, like we saw here, are yellow. They're like open parachutes. They're so cute. So cute. And it smells, okay, I will tell you what this smells like, and you won't believe it. I've smelled blooms that smell like chocolate, like butterscotch, like fruity, like sweet, um, like jasmine. But this one smells like laundry detergent. Ah, my jaw fell when I read it. It was like, are you serious? And when I smelled it, it does. It does. It smells like laundry detergent, which is actually one of my favorite scents because it smells so clean. Incredible. Incredible. Very, very good. Now, One thing that I could tell you about the blooms is that they will blast if the temperatures dip down at night below 60 degrees Fahrenheit. So it constantly has to be in warm weather. Um, yeah, and it's also permitted in Australia to have. Australia has certain um, regulations, and they have. It is specified that this one can go to Australia also. Okay, let me show you one that is very different from what my usual ones are, and this one I got in Lixian orchids. I'd say like 4 months ago. Lixian had wrapped it around a coconut, half a coconut. And this is the Hoya Idaho. The ascension number is MB1432. When I saw this, it was growing very nicely. It was receiving rainwater, and she put sphagnum moss in the center of the coconut wedge, and then she tied it with fishing wire, or fishing string, whatever you want to call it. And I have put it in front. I have put it in my balcony, receiving morning light, morning sunlight, and rainwater. But it seems a little dry, so I'm gonna have to moisten it a little bit after this video. Let me tell you a little bit more about this one. This is a hybrid from Mike Bernardo, and the parent um, species, for this one is I'm sorry, Hoya MB001 and Hoya aldrichi. Those are the two parent species for the hybrid of the Idaho. I have propagated this one in several different methods, in aeroid and pond, and they're both growing very, very nicely. So I'm just going to give it some time. I haven't had it much or long for this, but yeah, it's growing very nicely. The only thing I could tell you is that when you propagate or you plant in coconut, you have to make sure that it's buffered. I learned this recently, that it's preferably to buffer the coconut fiber in CalMag, which is calcium and magnesium, and it takes away the salts. And that's what the Hoyas prefer, uh, and they will grow nicely in cocoa coir or cocoa peat, but buffered, remember. Okay, this one has been receiving a lot of rainwater and it's been draining all the salts away. But as soon as I get the CalMag, I think I'm going to buffer it just in case. But either way, it's going very, very nicely. The leaves are smooth, round foliage with bright light, with dark margins. Let me see. You could maybe it's just certain kinds, certain ones that are like that. But it can turn reddish in bright light. It's a little stressed. You can see here how it is a little stressed on the bottom part of the leaves. It's an epiphyte, which is a crawl. It goes up the trees and grows there. And you have to maintain this one with a constant watering schedule. I cannot let it dry out, and that's why I'm going to go ahead and water that. It has been receiving rainwater constantly. It's been raining a lot lately, but I'm going to drench it a little bit more after this video. It does like bright indirect light, and make sure that you keep it away from direct sunlight so it will avoid some leaf scorching. The fertilizer, this one's pretty particular on the fertilizer. It likes low nitrogen, but it does like sufficient phosphorus and potassium. So it's a little unique in its requirements, but it is easy to care for Hoya. So for beginners, I would say, yeah, this is an easy to take care of Hoya, and it has been very proficient, very prolific in my propagations. Okay, this plant, the Hoya woolliana, is from the lowland forest of Borneo. As you can see, it's very prolific. It's been growing very nicely, very bushy. This one I bought, I believe, in June, um, in Lixian Orchids. And since I have acquired it, it has grown. Look at the stressing. I really like the stressing of this, and this is within my cabinet. Very, very, very nice. It's like a maroon wine color stressing. The more light that you provide it, the more that the stressing will come out. Very nice. This one likes high temperatures, 21 to 35 degrees Celsius. I'll put there the Fahrenheit. It does like high humidity, so it is growing very nicely within the cabinet. It likes well draining, open mix, airway mix. This one I haven't pawned, and so far so good. It likes it where it is, um, so I am not complaining. uh, Water less during winter time. Here in winter, it doesn't go down too cold, so I can just continue fertilizing it and watering it. And it requires the water since from the semi-hydro. The bloom is a reflex, densely felted, creamy white with maroon centered and a yellow corona. Weird, huh? But I will leave you the bloom there so you can see it. And fertilize during growing periods if you are in a cold area. So it requires medium to bright indirect light. And the growth habit, you can add this one in a hanging planter also because of the way of the growth habit. The leaves are glossy dark green, and bright light can get them to a dark red, as you can see here. And this one is named after the Swedish Hoya collector Pierre Wallin, hence the name Walliana. It was introduced in 2003. And note that up to there's the flower is up to 30 little flowers per umbel and lasts up to 7 days. So I can't wait to see an actual bloom on this plant, on this Hoya. Very, very, very nice. Okay, we're going to go into the next one. This one's a little bit different from the usual Hoyas, um, and it has been growing very, very nicely. It's a Hoya Retusa, and I got this from the California Tropical back in May of this year. Now, you see it small? I have propagated it several times already. It's just so different. And I said, you know what? I really, really do like this one. This one is native to India and eastern Himalayas, or the high altitude and cooler temperatures. Now, here in Puerto Rico, I'd say that it's kind of out of place, but it has been growing very nicely. I have it in different places. I have it within the cabinet, and I also have it outside in the balcony. During winter time, it's been growing, it's been getting cooler temperatures, but during the summer also, and it's been growing all right. I mean, I cannot say it's totally full, but it has been longer and therefore have been able to propagate it. And the propagations are doing nicely also. Out of 5 propagations that I did out of this plant, 3 are growing nice. The other 2 died from maybe I just didn't get a node. It's kind of hard to, well, I can kind of have an idea of where the node is, but yeah, it's been growing nicely. Water this plant slightly more frequently when half of the substrate is dry. In this case, I have it in pond, getting the water from the reservoir, and it's going to need water pretty soon. So yeah, it does like to be watered more frequently. It does like medium to bright indirect light. It's an epiphyte trailing plant. And the foliage is a succulent Foliage, rounded leaf apex with a notch. Clumps with long stems. Unusually shaped leaves. Very pretty, very nice. One other plant that I have on my wish list is the Spariodes, which is a longer leaf one, but unusual. Um, I will let you know a little bit more about the linearis and how it has behaved in my in my zone. Oh yeah, yeah. But that will be in the next video. It produces single flowers from the peduncles, and I will leave you a picture of the plants of the flowers that it produces. One flower per peduncle. And one good thing about this one is it is pet safe. So yeah, there you go, the Hoya Retusa. Okay, the next one that I have, and I think the chickens are going crazy out there. They probably fed them. These are not my chickens. They're not my roosters. They're not my geese. They're not my horses. But the neighbors have them, and I enjoy having them around. Okay, here is the Hoya David Kumingiana, or David Kumingi. David Kumingi? Or, okay, you guys pronounce it the way you want. This one I bought in Lixiang Orchids back in August. This one flowered right off the bat. I believe I bought it with a peduncle, and a little while later it flowered again. It's a very proficient flower all year round. I did enjoy the bloom, and I will add a picture of the bloom there. It is origin from the island of Luzon in the Philippines. Okay. The temperatures, no cold drafts of frost. It prefers warm temperatures from 60 to 85 degrees Fahrenheit or 16 to 29 degrees Celsius. The humidity, this one is from a high forest edges, so humidity pretty much in a forest. It likes it. It's good for semi-hydro. So yeah, I do have this one in semi-hydro, and it has been growing. I have propagated it, and it's growing. It's growing nicely. So it's not a fast grower, but it's not a slow grower either. The growth habits, vining, epiphyte, and lithophyte. So it can grow up the trees or it can go down below. So this is a very unusual one that has both different types of growth habits. And the leaves are succulent and glossy, green leaves, and ovate in shape. There you go. The Hoya, David Kominji. And the chickens, I think, laid eggs because they get like that. Okay, and before we go into the balcony ones, I will show you this beauty. This one is the Hoya verticillata acuta inner variegated. Look how beautiful! This is a beautiful one. I really, really like this one. I got this from Lixiang Orchids back in September. I have propagated this one. Very, very nice. It's not a fast grower, but it's there. It's there. And look at the first ones were roundish, like an oval, and they have gotten into a little bit longer. They have a little uh, point or hook at the end of the leaves. That's how you can tell this one. Let me tell you a little bit more. The origin is Southeast Asia. And the temperatures, it likes the heat of the sun. 65 to 85 degrees Fahrenheit or 18 to 29 degrees Celsius. The humidity, it does not like below 50%. Recommended 60 to 80% humidity. This one I have in my IKEA cabinet, and it is receiving the humidity that it prefers. It's growing very, very nicely. It does like well draining, organic, matter or rich in organic matter. So this one in particular, it specifies that does like a well draining, aerated mix, but rich in organic matter. This one I have it in pond. It has been growing very nicely. But if I've been checking it out just to make sure. So if I see any type of decline in it, then it will be transferred over to an aerated aeroid mix. This one, you're allowed to dry it out completely before you water again. But in this case, it is in pond, receiving the water. It does have a little bit of algae, depending on where you're from. And it is growing very nicely. It does not affect the plant at all. I believe it's just providing some nutrients also. Um, this one does like bright indirect light, but will drop leaves without the proper light. So you do not want to put this one in a dark area. This one likes the bright light, therefore it keeps up those beautiful upright leaves and healthy looking. So does not like the darkness or the low light areas. Okay, it's an epiphyte, which is grows up the trees, and the leaves are waxy and succulent. So the variegation, the inner variegation, remember, if you want to keep up the inner variegation, it will require high lights conditions. Okay, so that is the Hoya verticillata, verticillata acuta. And now we're going to go into the balcony. I'll show you the two that I have out there receiving the morning light, and see how beautiful they have gotten. Okay, this is the Hoya Mary Lee, and I believe this was on my Spanish one for the long leaf, but it also has the medium leaves. Look at this dressing. Look how beautiful this dressing of the leaves. This receives only the morning light, the morning sun, and bright light during the whole day. This is outside in my balcony. And look at that spur. It has flowered consistently. It's very prolific. The flowers are very fragrant. They last for 4 to 5 days. It's a fast bloomer, like I said previously. And they're very, I think I like the foliage more on this one than the actual flower, but it is beautiful. It's a simple flower, and I'll leave you a picture of the flower there. This one does come from the Philippines, Mindoro Island, and the collector was E.D. Merrill, therefore, and hence the name Mary Lee. The temperatures that it prefers is 65 to 85 degrees Fahrenheit or 18 to 29 degrees Celsius, no less than 50 degrees Fahrenheit. It does like high humidity, 60 to 80%. And this one, avoid overwatering to prevent root rot. But this one basically receives just rainwater most of the time. And it likes it. The flowers are sweet, fragrant. They last up to 4 to 5 days, and it's a fast bloomer. And this plant is good for as a hanging plant also. I have it on a trellis, one that I made myself, but you can't even see it because it's so prolific. The leaves are green with prominent veins, and in highlight, as you can see, beautiful shades of red stressing. And this is the Hoya Mary Lee. Okay, the last one that we have is the Hoya Nikosia Samoensis. I bought it as just the Samoensis, and there's a little dog that I put in there. I've had her in there for a while. Okay, this one is originated from Southeast Asia and Australia, or the islands of Samoa. It has a synonym of Nicosonia, but the ascension number is IML0192H82. Now, this one has been receiving the morning sunlight and very bright light during the whole day here on the balcony. And it does receive a lot of rainwater. Look how beautiful it is. The temperature, it likes the warm temperature, 57 degrees at higher, or 14 to 35 degrees Celsius. It does like well-draining mix. I do have it in aeroid mix. It's doing very, very nicely. Water sparingly, less in winter. The blooms are very pretty. I really like the smell of these blooms. They're color salmon, apricot, and approximately 10 flowers per umbel. I will add there a picture of the actual blooms, and it does flower, several flowers at once. So the fragrance is just spectacular, and it goes inside the house, and it's so, so good. The fertilization is only during growing season, and the leaves are shiny, curved, lime green with lighter veination. And this one is permitted in Australia. And there you go, the Hoya Nikosia samoensis. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. I did it with much love for every single one of you. And hopefully you have learned something, at least one or two things. That would be great, in which we can learn how to take care of our Hoyas, our wax plants, our porcelain plants, like they're always called. Here we call them miosopis here in Puerto Rico. So yeah, each place has their own way of knowing which plants these are, but generally they're under Hoyas. Yeah, so hopefully you have learned something and it's helped you in any way. And yeah, from Puerto Rico, I'm sending you the blessings to our family, to our planty family, which is something very special. And yeah, it's blessings for you, your family, your pets, and your plants. May you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you for the next video. Bye.